Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
You all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
it's Division I football. It ain't intramurals.
That is right. Welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. I'm Jake. That's Ed. Today we are talking the college football playoff. I would just first like to put out a statement. This is normally the part of the show where I apologize for my incorrect takes, for being wrong, for all the bad bets that I've given out in the previous weeks. And I would just like to say that I'm going to apologize to absolutely nobody because I predicted Miami would win. Nobody else held the line. Nobody knew it. I knew it deep down in my soul. I predicted it. Julian Sayin is a fraud, and I knew it. I did. So there you go. There's my non-apology, my victory speech. I knew. I clocked that game 100% correctly.
Yeah. Take your victory
lap. There's my victory lap, ladies and gentlemen.
You're right. We're wrong along. And, I should have known because the ACC is really one of the power conferences this year. We should have known it.
Yes, we knew.
Yeah, we missed that one.
If you came to the Hoppy Huddle, you knew. You had elite ball knowledge.
You did. Yeah. Boy, I missed on several of those games.
And me too. I got some wrong too. It happens.
Yeah. So let's talk. Let's get into last week's games real quick. Just a quick recap. That New Year's Eve showdown, Miami, Ohio State. What a game! I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think Miami would be able to get as much pressure on Ohio State as they did, and they made Julian Sayin pay for it. He just wasn't comfortable all night long. The Ohio State couldn't. I'm just surprised that Ohio State couldn't figure out a way to score points, and that defensive touchdown put all of a sudden Ohio State's looking up the scoreboard and hey, we're down. And that was the difference. And it's not like Jeremiah Smith had a bad evening.
No, he didn't. And by the way, Jeremiah Smith and the receivers weren't the problem there. The problem is they absolutely could not give Julian Sayin time in the pocket.
No. And
we found out that when, on under pressure, Julian Sayin is just, at no quarterback is their best when they're getting tackled all the time and they're on the ground and their jersey's green, right? So that was the issue. It's they couldn't get the ball to their playmakers. And credit to Miami's secondary as well, honestly. They gave up some big plays, but they played pretty consistently decent coverage against those Miami receivers.
Yeah, they couldn't rush the ball.
Yeah,
they couldn't run the ball, Ohio State, and they got pressure on Sayin. So they really made Ohio State one-dimensional, and all you could do is throw, and you get out to a lead, and Miami. Hats off to them. Defensively,
they chewed the clock. They ran the ball. I think it's pretty clear at this point that Mario Cristobal and his offensive line recruiting is the best in the country. That Ohio State defense has multiple NFL players. Even up front, they're really, really good, top of the line. And they just got nothing up front. The only times where there were issues was Carson Beck holding on to the ball, which didn't happen that often during the game. They were able to get a lot of just inside zone, and they just blocked in perfect run plays, and they just chewed the clock. And if you're a Mario Cristobal, you could not picture a better game in your dreams, right? You're dominated the line of scrimmage on the offense and defensive sides of the ball. Your big guys out-muscled and out-manned the other guys' big guys, and they won the game because of it.
Yeah, quite a performance. And you're right, I didn't see that one coming. Ohio State was sort of the favorite along with Indiana, and Miami took it to them. So that was – we start off with an upset, and then we get to New Year's Day. We start off with the game, which you and I thought Oregon Texas Tech would probably be one of the closer games.
We thought it would. We both leaned Oregon, but I did.
I leaned toward Texas Tech, but you leaned to Oregon.
Oh, I thought you. I don't know. We thought it would be pretty. I thought it was a toss-up. I'm gonna be honest.
I did not see Oregon in a blowout.
I didn't either. And honestly, this game was not a blowout if you watch the game.
No, not
for most of the game. it was one-sided in the fact that there were 4 units on the field. One of them couldn't operate at all, and that was Texas Tech's offense.
Yeah.
Now, Texas Tech's defense put up a valiant effort, and they really played their butts off, and they played fantastic against that Oregon offense. They kept them in the game for a long time
or so. Yeah.
But it became clear that Texas Tech, which relied on the explosives all year, that they just were not going to be able to do that against Oregon. We saw going into the game, we said that Oregon and Texas Tech, Oregon's defense doesn't give up explosives, and Texas Tech's offense relies on explosives. And which one of those is going to win determined the game. And it turned out that Oregon's defense not giving up the explosives was the one that won. And Texas Tech just doesn't have the offense to drive down the field 5 yards at a time. Baird Morton is it's not that guy at quarterback. He hasn't been that guy at quarterback. He can score lots of points against bad teams, but against elite teams, he is not that guy. And I would fully expect Texas Tech to have an upgrade next year with Sorsby.
Yeah, he just made too many mistakes with the turnovers, and he really killed them. And I don't think Dante Moore played a great game.
He didn't play very well either, but the difference is they actually ran a functioning offense, and they played well enough, and they scored, and they moved the ball.
Yeah. So, but Oregon's defense performed pretty well. Then we get to the game that I think we agreed on pretty easily.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to go back and watch our tape. But
we were both on this one.
We thought Indiana would win this game pretty easily, and it went according to plan.
And it did. Yeah,
Alabama couldn't rush the ball. I think the first drive, you go, Indiana doesn't look so good. Well, that's because Indiana had to shake off the rust. And after the first drive, their next drive that came out, what was it, like 15, 16 plays?
It was like 16 plays, like 8 minutes.
And they only got a field goal. But it was kind of like,
the way they were moving the ball, you could just see okay.
Yeah. This was not going to be a problem. And it really wasn't. I don't think Alabama ever challenged them at any point in the rest of that game. This is Indiana is just, they're wagon, man. They are tough to beat. They're on a mission. And it's going to take a special performance from any of these teams left. Now, Oregon could do that. We'll talk about that game in a few minutes. But Indiana they were not going to be denied against Bama. Bama was limited all year. I never thought Bama belonged in the playoffs to begin with. It caught up to them in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say basically what happened to Alabama is what Alabama had done to teams for the last 15 years under Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Joyless murder ball, efficient, brutal, forceful execution of the plays.
Yeah.
It was never like some teams have 2 or 3 star players and they just feed those star players, or they rely on those star players and those star players overperform. Indiana has Mendoza and they have great players all around, but it's just a well-oiled machine where every part does its job efficiently and effectively.
Yeah.
And they just run, they go, they complete plays. And it's hard because one thing there are no weaknesses that stand out, and there are no this is the only thing that they rely on, their star. If we deny that, we can pull them back to earth, right? Yeah. Because they're just good across the board at basically every position. Maybe the right side of their offensive line was a little weak. They gave up some pressures from the Alabama defense, but with the way they run with the RPO, Mendoza reads the field and processes for the RPO so well. He's going to be incredible in the NFL. They love running that scheme in the NFL. Indiana is the best team in the country. They should be the prohibitive favorite to win the national title. I have them winning the national title. I think they're going to win the national title. They're just that good. And I'm not saying they can't be beaten. Great teams do get beaten by exceptional performances, but it's so strange to see a team in Crimson win by 30 in a playoff game, and it's not Alabama.
Yeah.
But man, it looked like old Alabama right there.
Yeah. And then we get to the night game, and I have to admit, the night game, I was actually starting to doze off in the second quarter. This game was starting to lose me. After watching football all day, Georgia had kind of taken the lead, and it was starting to get to the point where I thought Ole Miss was going to be in trouble. And Ole Miss botched the approach at halftime where they could have gotten a field goal. The guy didn't run out of bounds. And you're just kind of thinking, Pete Golding, first time head coach, this is a problem. Georgia's going to come out in the third quarter and put a stranglehold. And lo and behold, if Trinidad Chambliss didn't come out and look like Superman in the second half, that was a fun game to watch. I am shocked. I thought Kirby I thought it was coaching malpractice on Kirby in the second half. I go back to the 4th down and 9 call where they decide to go for it. This is the second time they go for it. They made it the first time, which I thought was a gutsy call. They do it again, down by 3 in their own part of the field, but the team doesn't even – they call a timeout. They're going for it. They call the timeout. You think they'll come out and they're going to punt. Well, no, they're going for it. But half the team, the offensive line doesn't look like they're going for it. There's confusion. I mean, Ole Miss snuffs. They just take that out right away. And then Ole Miss scores. I mean, that was a problem. And then I think the timing issue on that third down play at the goal line, you should have kept the clock moving and never given Ole Miss a chance to kick the winning. I thought there were several big coaching issues by Kirby Smart. But hats off to Trinidad Chambliss. He was unstoppable. I mean, at one point he was 13 of 13 or 14 of 14, whatever it was. In that second half, unbelievable performance by him. What a night. What a game. You got to wonder if Lane Kiffin's rethinking, hey, I could have won a national championship at Ole Miss if I just hung around.
He's not rethinking that, and there's 90 million reasons why not.
Well, that's fine, but what a game anyway. So there we have it. Now we've got Ole Miss versus Miami tomorrow night.
What a matchup in college football semifinal. Ole Miss, Miami. That if that doesn't scream new money, I don't know what does. Like it.
Yeah,
it's the way the sport has changed. There's positives and there's a lot of negatives. But you got to say Miami Ole Miss that's a matchup, man. And the TV executives are probably going to be angry because they didn't get the biggest brands that they wanted, but I'm excited for Miami Ole Miss. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, and so we're going to have a first-time champion in a little while.
We're going to have a first year maybe. Yeah, in a while, cuz the Miami in 2001, Ole Miss in 1960 or whatever, and Oregon, Indiana have never won.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. So the Miami Ole Miss game, this is a real fascinating. Miami's a 3.5-point favorite. It's clear Ole Miss has the weakest. The Ole Miss defense is the weakest unit left out of all the units in any of these games. I mean, their defense isn't very good.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
And that gives me a little bit of pause because I started thinking about this game. I'm not sure. You think of Kewan Lacey, you think of Trinidad Chambliss, and the run that those guys are on right now. They look almost unstoppable. But you put them against that Miami defense, and I don't think Ole Miss yet has seen. I mean, Georgia's front seven is good. I don't think they're anywhere near the line of Miami. And so the question is Trinidad going to be able to run around and do what he did? I don't think he's going to be able to at the same level. He's going to make some plays, but he's not going to be – I think they'll be able to get to him a little better than Georgia did. The flip side is I don't think Ole Miss can't stop the run. And that's a problem because Mark Fletcher is just a beast back there. You sprinkle in a little Pringle. And I think Miami is going to control the clock, kind of like they've done in the first two games.
That Miami O-line is going to eat Ole Miss's defense alive.
And these are the real contrast in styles here. You got Ole Miss, which wants to play fast, and Miami, which wants to play absolutely as slow as possible. I mean, I see another grind-out game by Miami. It's going to be very, very important for Miami to get the lead in this game. I can't stress that enough. If they get down 7-0, 10-0, 14-0, I think that's a problem for Miami. Yeah. I think it's got to play out like the Ohio State game. Get up 7-0, get up 10-0. If they can play with the lead, Miami's going to win this game. If they have to play from behind, now you're going to make Carson Beck you're going to make them throw the ball more. You're not going to be able to run
You
the
do
ball.
not want to
You're
be putting Carson back in those situations.
No.
He's a game
So-
manager, and he's an effective game manager, right?
He is,
But
no doubt.
he is not a dynamic playmaker like Trinidad Chambliss is. And I
Yeah.
think my thoughts on this is the game is going to hinge on if Trinidad Chambliss can play at the lights out All-American insane level that he did against Georgia. I don't know that he will be able to, but what if there's any recipe for beating good defenses with elite pass rush, elite secondaries, and the people that have you outmatched physically? What is the trump card? A dynamic mobile quarterback having the game of his life. Trinidad Chambliss, if he can play at another level like he did against Georgia, you can run around and get past those pass rushers and you can make plays and the defense breaks down. And if Ole Miss can use that and score and cash in on their red zone, Miami has good defense all around, but it's hard to move the ball against them. And so if you get in the red zone, you got to cash in with touchdowns if you're Ole Miss. And so to me, it comes down to, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. Ole Miss, they showed the ability. I think Ohio State is a better O-line, and they couldn't get run space against Miami's defense. So I think it's going to come down to, can Trinidad Chambliss avoid sacks, avoid negative plays? Can he just play with like his hair is on fire the entire game? And if he could do that, Ole Miss can win, absolutely, because I don't think Miami is scoring more than 21 points. I think if you're Ole Miss, I think if you get to 27, I think you win the game. I think if you get to 25, you win the game. I think if you're under that, you're right where Miami wants you to be.
Yeah, I think so. Miami wants to win this game 20-15, 14 or something like that.
Yep.
And that would be a pretty slow scoring game from Ole Miss particularly. I think Miami's going to do it. I think they're going to make – I don't think they're going to keep Trinidad Chambliss enough. If they can do it to Ohio State's offense, and I think Julian Sain was a more precise passer, not the runner, not the guy to be able to move around, more precise passer with better actually wide receiver weapons. I think they can do it. Ole Miss
has got good receivers, though.
Ole Miss does wide receiver by committee. I don't think they're nearly the weapons.
They're not the individual
They're not
weapons,
Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith.
But they've got some good guys.
They're okay. I don't think they're going to scare them as much as I think the Miami secondary is not as fearful of that. Keontae Scott looks healthy. I mean, he was injured the last part of the season. They've got him back healthy now.
Yeah.
I think Miami is going to do enough to keep this offense in check. I see again, 21-17 Miami, probably just barely covering that 3.5. A low-scoring game. Miami's going to do enough. I think the Hurricanes can move on from here.
I'm the same way. I think the difference will be I actually think Ole Miss will score on Miami somewhat, but I think they'll be able to move the ball. I think the difference, however, will be that Ole Miss will not be able to stop Miami's offense. I think Miami will lean on them. They will get 10-minute drives. They will suck up entire quarters, and nothing Ole Miss can do on defense will stop the physicality of that Miami offense. And so because of that, I'm with you. I think I honestly think it might be 20. I think Miami might get to 20. I don't know. We'll see. 21 maybe, but yeah, I have Miami winning as well. I think Ole Miss might play better on offense than Ohio State did, given they have a mobile quarterback. But I think the defense is nowhere near as good. And yeah. So
yeah, we'll see. So then we get to the Friday night game, a rematch of a regular season game, Oregon versus Indiana. That game was 30-20 at Oregon.
It was not that close. If you watched,
wasn't that close because one of Oregon's touchdowns was a pick six.
Yeah,
that was really quite an unusual game. And Indiana, that's really kind of helped keep moving Indiana along. And everybody kind of said, "Hey, maybe this team is for real." What do you think of this game?
So my thoughts on this game is there's a couple of differences. one, they've played each other before, and it's kind of hard to predict when teams play each other in the same season how coaches adjust to the opponent's scheme. Kurt Cignetti obviously will make great adjustments. He's a great coach, and so will Dan Lanning. So I think that's something there to see who ends up making the better adjustments. I think also Oregon has DeCorian Moore back because, correct me if I'm wrong, but he wasn't in that game against Indiana in the first time. So their wide receiver core is a little better. Indiana is missing, what's his name? The pass rusher.
I can't remember his
the
name.
lineman. Anyway, he is not in this game. So Oregon got slightly better personnel. Indiana slightly worse. And so I think this game may be closer in stats than the first game, which was a pretty clear Indiana domination. However, I still think Indiana wins. And the reason is I think Fernando Mendoza is just a clear upgrade over what Dante Moore has shown this season. Dante Moore has potential to be, an elite level quarterback, but he hasn't really shown it in most of the games he's played. He hasn't looked that fantastic in the playoff. He's been good, but not like at that level. Mendoza has been like so razor sharp and efficient and just an absolute machine executing this offense that even with the adjustments that Oregon makes, even with the personnel difference, I just think that Indiana offense, he is the X factor. He is a great quarterback on that team. He elevates the rest of the team, and you can't game plan against your opponent's quarterback just playing perfectly. And that's what Mendoza has basically done for most of this season. So yeah, I know Oregon's defense played really well against Texas Tech. That Oregon has a really solid defense, but I just think Mendoza, that offense, those receivers are tall and fast. They got good receivers, and they run the ball really well. They actually, they do that pretty well. So yeah, I'm still going Indiana. I can't pick against them. They've just shown me no flaws, really. And they have the best quarterback in the country. And if you show me a great team that's with very little flaws and the best quarterback, I'm not picking them to lose. I can't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Indiana wins this game. And I think they're relentless. They're not making mistakes. They have that feel of the team
They're
of
never
destiny.
daunted.
Yeah, they really, the way they're putting teams away, they just don't have weakness offensively or defensively. They can run, they can pass, they can stop the run. They're good in the secondary. I think Oregon Oregon was impressive last week in beating Texas Tech. I still have some concerns about Oregon offensively, sometimes running the ball, and then you're dependent completely on that passing offense. I just don't know how that's going to play out against Indiana's defense. And I also, too, honestly, if you ask me to it, in a big game, I have concerns about Dan Lanning versus Kurt Cinetti. I think Kurt is going to make the right calls, and I'm not so Dan's going to go for it a lot on fourth down. We know this, and I think that sometimes can hurt them in certain situations. He's proven before. You go back to a couple years ago, it's Kalen DeBoer. There are a couple situations there are times where I feel like he goes for it too much, and I just don't know in a situation like this, is that going to burn him? At some point, Oregon's going to be so talented it's not going to matter. I just don't know.
We're getting close.
We're getting close. We're getting real close. But
We're getting real close there.
I think Oregon. To me, for Oregon to win, I think they've got to get Indiana to turn the ball over, and I just don't see Indiana doing that.
Yeah, and it's really crazy because Oregon has such a good team this year. A few flips of the coin in the offseason. Evan Stewart doesn't get hurt. Maybe Indiana is slightly less good, and Oregon's a clear favorite to win the national title this year.
I told you they're my 2026 pick to win the national title.
Yeah.
I've already said that.
Yeah.
Well, again, that depends on who's going to be quarterback.
I also, I picked them preseason to win the title, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's Indiana. They might win it in 26. You may be right on that. That's a long-term prediction, and
well, they got to get the quarterback right, because if Dante Moore leaves, that's going to change something.
We'll see about the quarterback, but
so I think Indiana wins probably like 28-24. I think it'll be a close game, and I think
I don't know. Will it be close or will Indiana just run away again? Because I could see there's a clear scenario where Indiana just goes off. Like
they could dog walk them. They really could.
They could. I don't know. I think it'll be closer. I think you're right.
Because that scenario of Indiana winning is that Oregon gets behind and they start going for it on fourth down.
And they just never catch up. And Indiana just like stomps their head.
And then all of a sudden Indiana's got short field several times and they just put them away. You could see that happen.
Yeah.
I would be stunned if Indiana gets blown out in this. That is what I'm not expecting in this game.
It will shock me if Indiana gets blown out.
Yeah. So
honestly, I'll be pretty surprised if Indiana loses just because I haven't seen anything this year. But we'll see. We will see.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we're going to enjoy those two games on Thursday and Friday night. I wish one of them was on the weekend, but heaven forbid we compete against some terrible NFL playoff games.
Heaven forbid the NFL actually respect the league that develops all their players and all their coaches and their new schemes and everything.
Yeah. So,
heaven forbid they show them a little respect,
Exactly. So, all right. And I know this is a more condensed version. We got to talk about the portal a little bit, but we're not done in the portal. I don't know what's going on. I mean,
have you followed any of the Damon Williams saga from Washington?
That's the one we got to talk about.
Because this is crazy. And I don't know if you've seen this, but what happened is essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but Damon Williams signed a binding NIL contract with Washington, and then apparently got a larger offer to go to. We think is it LSU?
I mean, LSU hasn't come out and said this. Lane Kiffin hasn't said this, but everybody's reporting it.
We're pretty sure it's LSU. We can go ahead and say LSU.
Even Lane Kiffin's sitting in a basketball game with Sam Levitt when that story breaks, which is hysterical.
Okay.
But
so,
it's LSU.
But we think it's LSU, right?
I mean, the only school we could think it could be Miami.
Okay.
There's rumblings. I mean, we don't know. 100%.
We don't know.
Everybody.
So another school offers him more money after he's already re-upped and re-signed this year.
Yes.
And it's a binding contract. And so there was a lot of like scuttlebutt and I guess kind of bad feelings from both sides on this. Apparently the whole team was at a funeral of a soccer player except him, and he posted on his story during the funeral that he was leaving. And that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, as that you can imagine. You never know these things. Like, it could have been a scheduled post. But yeah, so a lot of people are very angry. They're very angry. He said because he's upset because he recommitted to Washington and then signed and then is reneging on that. The big difference on this versus any other case is that Washington is intent on enforcing the contract and are pursuing all legal means and legal recourse. And of course, this is complete speculation because we don't have the contract. Nobody knows what the contract is. It's not leaked. Who knows what the language of the actual contract is? If there's penalties for breaking it, what are those penalties? How this all works, right? Nobody really knows. So when they say they're pursuing all legal means, they can't be meaning that they're trying to force him to play there, right?
Who knows what that means, but Washington is mad.
They are mad, and they are trying to hold him to that contract.
Correct.
But that seems untenable, right?
Well,
but we haven't had a case where a school is every school before this has basically given up, right?
It doesn't seem like they're going to do it. It seems like the Big Ten's supporting them.
Yeah, and so it's not like a case where he signed a multi-year deal and then left, right? He signed a new deal and then left, 4 days later.
This will be the most fascinating one to watch. First of all, he's a talented player.
He's very talented.
It's, whoever the mystery school is,
he's getting a dog.
So Washington wants to retain him, I would think. I don't know.
Is it so? Is the vibe so messed up? Do they even want him in that locker room anymore?
Probably not. but you can't. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is fast because I think it's trying to shift some power back to the schools,
Right.
Which is
because if donors have already committed money and maybe even like wired money, right? Like maybe even transferred money for Damon Williams, like because he signed the contract, right? I don't know how quickly these things go in and how these accounts work, but like, you never know. Like maybe it's installments and they already paid some of the installments. Like none of this is public. We don't know, but like Washington is basically saying like, no, you signed again this year. We're lawyering up. Like it's the scene in The Social Network where he's like, lawyer up, tool bag. I'm not coming back for 12%. I'm coming back for all of it. Right. Like, so they're pissed. They felt scorned and lied to. And I honestly, like, if you re-sign, it's kind of crazy to try and go back on that, right? If you have some inkling of that you can get a better deal.
We don't know. Yeah. It'll be fascinating to see how this plays out. I guess we're gonna have to have a resolution pretty soon because you really can't let this drag on for Washington's sake, for his sake.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's not like you can drag this out in the court over a period of years because his eligibility runs out.
Right.
So and it affects multiple teams because I mean, let's say it was LSU. We don't. I thought that was reported by multiple outlets, but I don't. Anyway, assuming it's LSU, LSU still. I mean, we think LSU's looking for a quarterback. They got to find one. Miami's looking for one. I mean, there's still a lot of pieces out there that have to be put into place for some teams.
Yeah.
And Dylan Raiola is still out there, by the way.
Yeah, and I haven't heard a ton about where he's
thinking out Louisville's going to be the one where he's going to end up. But,
Louisville, maybe.
That seems to be where
it might be a negotiation thing. But
I mean, DJ Lagway's out there. I don't see DJ Lagway at Miami or LSU.
No, really DJ Lagway, interestingly enough, is visited Virginia and he's looking at Baylor also. And then who else? Stanford and somebody else.
Yeah.
One other school. But that'll be interesting.
We'll go back and look at once this thing settles down another week or so, we can actually start to piece it together.
Yeah, I'm going to go through just a couple of major guys here. Cam Coleman seems to be looking at Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Texas.
And Alabama is what I'm hearing.
And Alabama too? Okay.
That's what I read. Again, depends on which X account you're looking at.
Right. Drew Messamaker is following his coach to Oklahoma State. That's huge for the Cowboys. Brendan Sorsby is going to Texas Tech. That is huge. He's a big he's upgrade for them. That he's be a great quarterback. Caleb Hawkins, the running back from North Texas, is also going to Oklahoma State. Texas Tech crushing the portal again as usual. It looks like Coy Perch, the safety from Minnesota, who also played some wide receiver. He's kind of a two-way player, which is kind of insane. He looks like he may be going to Texas Tech, as well as a lineman, Mateen Iragaboga from Wake Forest. Byron Brown going to Auburn following his head coach. That's big for Auburn. It looks like you got some certainty at the quarterback position. He was a great player at USF, and especially with them being familiar at that scheme get you lots of points. I would expect him, I think he would have pretty good success at Auburn, and we'll see next year. Some of the guys, Josh Hoover transferring from TCU to Indiana. That'll be interesting.
Well, do we know that for certain?
That's for certain. He's committed. Yes, that is
okay.
for certain.
I'm okay. You have that.
Okay. It says committed right here on the On3 website. So, and
Bo Pribula is looking at visiting Washington.
Bo Pribula. Okay, interesting. Who else? Indiana also killing it in the portal. Nick Marsh, the wide receiver from Michigan State, who was very good, going to Indiana. Who else is in the portal of note?
I'll tell you who's not in the portal. Ty Simpson announced today he is going to the NFL draft.
I saw that.
So that means it's Keelan Russell time or Austin Mack time.
We think it's probably Keelan Russell, right? Isn't he pretty?
I don't know.
Mack well received. Mack did pretty well though.
Mack was a DeBoer pick from Washington. Came with him to Alabama, and looks pretty talented.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
It's going to be one of those guys.
Also, Rocco Beck to Penn State is committed. That'll also be interesting. He's upgrading and he's following his head coach. As at Penn State is probably going to get an upgrade at quarterback. We'll see. Who else? Those are kind of the notable guys that have committed. Big not portal entry. Bryce Underwood staying at Michigan for Kyle Whittingham. That's a huge win for the Wolverines. The big one, though, of course, is or the two biggest ones: Cam Coleman, Sam Levitt, still up in the air where they're going to go. Sam Levitt probably will command the highest price tag in the portal. Maybe Coleman, but it'll be interesting to see where, because those are two game-changing, team-defining players wherever they end up going. Yeah,
and just along the quarterbacks, another name which people who follow the recruiting industry, I keep seeing Houston Longstreet, the high USC recruit, may hit the portal.
Interesting. Is USC have they gotten a portal quarterback?
Well, I think Maeva's staying for a year, and I don't think he wants to sit.
And you don't think Houston is at that level?
I don't know.
That's interesting. It's interesting.
Now again, you take for what
he was pretty highly rated, and they seem to like him. So
you never know where you read a few of these sources. That could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know that anything. You never know what you could believe until it's over. So that could just be some one site speculating. You okay, Jake? You there, Jake? Jake's playing with his mic. Can you hear me, Jake?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, there we go. Anyway.
Who knows? I don't think we're done with quarterback roulette yet with all these quarterbacks. I still think there's something to hit the portal.
Okay.
We'll see. Austin Simmons went to Missouri, I believe. You noticed that?
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know, is Austin Simmons still going to be in Missouri on Ole Miss's roster tomorrow night? That's kind of fascinating, because what happens if Trinidad gets hurt in the first quarter? Is Austin on the roster and playing?
I think, right?
I don't know, but I know he's committed to Missouri.
Well, we'll see, I guess, if he suits up.
Yeah. Anyway. All righty. Well, we'll be back next week to talk about
the national championship
and the two semifinals, and hopefully have some more portal news.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have some people in the chat next week. It's quiet in the chat today. I don't know where all our chatters went.
Dead silent. So
I know. Wednesday night. What are they doing?
Who knows? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I think good night.
We're out of here. See ya.